Imagine having absolutely everything you could ever want: infinite wealth, a luxurious palace, perfect health, and people shielding you from every single bad thing in the world. But then, one day, you step outside your front door and realize a terrifying truth. Everyone you love is going to get sick, grow old, and eventually die. What would you do? Would you run back inside and hide? Or would you give up your wealth, your royal title, and your entire life to find a cure for human suffering? Welcome to our topic, the Buddha and the quest for enlightenment. Over 2500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha lived exactly that sheltered life. As the son of the chief of the Sakya clan, he grew up surrounded by pure luxury. But when he finally ventured outside his palace walls, reality hit him hard. He encountered an old man, a sick man, and a dead body. He was completely shattered by the realization that suffering was inevitable. But then he saw a fourth person, a wandering ascetic. This man had absolutely nothing, yet he radiated complete peace and equanimity. Deeply inspired, Siddhartha left his palace and his family behind to find a way to conquer human suffering. After years of intense, prolonged meditation and reflection, he finally cracked the code. He attained enlightenment and became known to the world as the Buddha, the Enlightened One. Instead of claiming to be a god who could magically wave a wand and fix everything, the Buddha used reason, logic, and ethical persuasion. His teachings, which were preserved in texts like the Sutta Pitaka, introduced a massive reality check to his followers. He taught the three marks of existence: anicca, everything in the universe is impermanent and constantly changing; anatta, there is no permanent, unchanging self; dukkha, because we stubbornly cling to things that are constantly changing, we suffer. So, how do we stop the suffering? Before his enlightenment, Siddhartha tried starving himself to the brink of death to find answers. But he realized that extreme, painful asceticism didn't work, just like extreme, wealthy indulgence didn't work. So he taught the middle path, a perfectly balanced, practical lifestyle right down the middle. Unlike other traditions at the time, the Buddha didn't believe the social world and its strict hierarchies were created by the gods. He saw society as entirely human-made. Because of this, he constantly advised both powerful kings and ordinary citizens to act with simple, grounded compassion. The ultimate goal of his path wasn't to go to a magical heaven. It was to achieve nirvana, the total extinction of human desire and the end of the endless cycle of rebirth. His final advice to his followers was incredibly empowering. Be lambs unto yourselves. Work out your own liberation. To spread this message, or Dhamma, the Buddha created the Sangha. This was a highly organized community of monks, bhikkhus, and later on, nuns, bhikkhunis. In fact, his own foster mother, Mahapajapati Gotami, bravely stepped up to become the very first bhikkhuni. They lived extremely simple lives, surviving entirely on donated food or alms. But here is the most revolutionary part of the Sangha. In a society deeply divided by strict birth hierarchies and rituals, the Sangha was completely equal. Powerful kings, wealthy merchants, and humble working people all joined the community. The moment they stepped inside, all social distinctions based on birth were completely erased. Everyone followed the exact same code of conduct. Because it stressed individual effort, absolute equality, and simple ethics over expensive, complicated rituals, Buddhism exploded in popularity among people who were dissatisfied with the old ways. It started with one man sitting under a tree in India, but his powerful message resonated so deeply that it swept across Central Asia into China, Korea, and Japan, and southwards into Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Indonesia. The Buddha didn't offer a magic spell to escape reality. he offered a clear, logical mirror to understand it, proving that true peace doesn't come from conquering the world, but from conquering your own mind.